Hello there, Writers Guild of Canada. My name is Marjorie Roden. I'm an independent filmmaker, writer, and actor based in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And as I follow Dennis McGrath on Twitter, he goes by Hey Writer Boy on there, I have seen on there that you've been looking for people's opinions on Canadian TV and our favorites. In good conscience, I can't just say one. I'm actually going to mention three here as briefly as I can. First one being Stargate Universe. I know this one is kind of in the mothballs right now, but thankfully the writers left it at a point where it could be picked up anytime down the line. And it was just a very compelling drama to watch because of the fact it looked at people in a very trying situation. Yes, it takes place on a spaceship, but that doesn't necessarily make all the elements that element of it, of course, is science fiction, but that doesn't necessarily dictate how the people get along with each other, the element of how the relationships work. And in all good writing, that is what is looked at, are those relationships. So I loved what was done there. I hope it comes out of the mothballs soon. And if any of the producers of the show, like Joseph Malazzi or Martin Jarrow or any of those ones are watching this, I have a script I'm working on that you could take a gander at if you do ever get a chance to pull it out of the mothballs and start it up again, because I think it would be great to revisit that world that was created in that series. Now, for the currently running shows, I couldn't just say one. I had to say two. They're fairly different from each other, but they're both dynamic, and I really, really love them and look forward to seeing them when they're airing new episodes every week. The first one, of course, being Orphan Black, out of Toronto, Ontario. This is something I would call not so much science fiction, but scientific fiction, because of the fact that the elements and the situations that are presented within this series could actually be taking place. Scary to say, but they could be. And the storylines that have been woven and interwoven throughout that beautiful tapestry that's been created with the writing is nothing short of amazing. What also isn't short of amazing in this series is Tatiana Maslany's acting, and I really hope I pronounced your name correctly. If I haven't, you can give me heck for it if we ever meet in person. But she plays multiple roles in this show. I'm not going to say anything else about that other than what I've already said, because I know there's a lot of people who've seen the series already, but I also know there's a lot of people out there who haven't seen it yet. And it will be making its broadcast debut on CTV in August of this year, which I think is fantastic, because it deserves attention, it deserves kudos, it deserves awards. And certainly Tatiana deserves awards for her acting as well. And I'm just going to say this once. Shame on you, Emmy people. They snubbed the lead actress in this show. A lot of people had pegged her not just for a nomination, but for a win. If you've seen the show, you know what I mean. It is an insult not only to her, but to the industry, that work that's that brilliant is not being recognized by an organization that supposedly looks at the best acting. So that, big mistake there, guys. That you just left a big bunch of mud on your face by not nominating her. And you've lost a lot of respect for not including her. I think they must have been living under a rock or something to not have nominated her. I'm sure if they were living on the rock, they would have had some sense enough to have done that. Of course, for those of you who are in Canada, you know that saying that somebody lives on the rock is a slang term for living in Newfoundland, which is a segue into the other show that I really enjoy and love, and is one of my favorites, Republic of Doyle, which is shot out in St. John's, Newfoundland. It is a funny, amazing, hilarious, and brilliantly written series. It's a mystery one, similar to some of the older detective stories that used to be on TV, like Rockford Files and Jake and the Fat Man, similar to some like that, where it's, and Crazy Like a Fox actually comes to mind too, because that one had the familial element in it, similar to the way that the Republic of Doyle does. Now, similar to Orphan Black, the Republic of Doyle does not hide the fact that it's Canadian. It does not hide the fact that its main location is in Canada. In fact, it emphasizes that. I love the humility that is used in this show. And I think about the best example of that, which really kind of got to me, was with the car. Now, in the first few seasons, we see Jake Doyle driving around in this really beautiful muscle car, perfectly polished, looking good, can really chase down the criminals, things like that. And then the car gets wrecked. He of course, he misses his car, and it's been blown up. He's not too happy about this. And one of his friends, actually a young guy, Des, decides to save up all his money, and he gets him another car to replace the original. But it isn't a shiny brand new one. It's one that's been brought out of the salvage yard. It has, different colored bumpers on it, kind of a rusty door, and it doesn't run as well as the original. But instead of, being like the way in some shows somebody might be like, yuck, they write into it that Jake is very touched by this, and he's like, yeah, that's perfect. And instead of, looking at what something isn't, it looks at the potential of what it can be, and it kind of builds from there. Oh yes, and also what Alan Howco, and I hope I pronounced your name right, sir, has done with the series. Yes, he's the lead actor. He's also the head writer and one of the main producers on it. That gives hope for some of us who are also writer, producer, actor types to try and get their own work out there as well and not be afraid to take a chance on it. I don't know if he realizes yet that he's done this for other, like to be an inspiration like this for other people who are in a similar boat, who want to do the same sorts of things, but with their own ideas. But he has, and that is amazing. That's something you don't hear about that often, so I am glad that not only is it being done, but it's being done in Canada. So that totally rocks too. I'll just put a tiny little plug in here for something I'm doing. I'm doing a little web series called Pre-Flight Launch. I have an Indiegogo campaign going up, or that's running right now until August 10th. To raise some much-needed production funds for it. This is a prequel to a TV series I'm trying to develop. But first I have to get the web series off the ground, and I want it to look good. So hence the Indiegogo campaign. If anyone wants to look that up, go for it. So thank you so much for your time. Thanks for putting up with my babbling. My name is Marjorie Roden in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I hope my opinions at least provide some slight form of entertainment to people on the interweb. Take care. Bye-bye.